Sub traders, it's trades here. It's the 23rd of September, Tuesday. Was expecting euro dollar to be bearish this week. I'm just not sure what time or what date that will come. I was expecting maybe some kind of a bearish momentum to kick in today because we had some PMI news that came out this morning. That market just ranged in a very small confined area all day today. And to be honest, looking at this, I'm not going to base my prediction on this weekly time frame right now, but I could see this being a bullish candle that trades inside this long wick candle, and then next week we might get the bearish candle that I'm looking for, which could be the bearish engulfing candle which we saw on pound dollar last week. And because of that, I've been bearish on pound dollar going into this week. However, it's not given bearish right now, and it might at certain levels. On pound dollar, I'm still bearish. Euro dollar, I'm slightly less confident with a bearish bias right now, even though we did pull back into this bearish fair value gap on the daily time frame. That after price took out these highs, these weekly time frame equal highs below a monthly time frame fair value gap during FOMC last week, it looked like we are going to find resistance here and drop lower, and then price pulled back into that level after opening this week. Let's just get rid of that. It's been on a bullish run. It is coming into the low of that FOMC candle. To me, this is accumulation. If we are bearish this week, right, this is just an accumulation happening before price comes up to somewhere around here. This is a bearish inverse fair value gap that price previously held after the FOMC candle, and find some resistance there. It might not. Right now, I'm less and less confident with the bearish bias. Before, I would have been confident going short as price pushed up here somewhere into this region. However, right now, after seeing the way price reacted today, this is the area that it essentially consolidated, right? We had kind of a market structure shift here. We formed a channel that I was expecting price, or I was predicting price to form. RSI was diverging. Price put in a market structure shift. If you were trading that retracement of 618, it came into that 618, but it didn't come back down to this low, and that was a good sign to me that it wasn't gonna. To me, that was a sign that we might actually not find support around there, and especially because price put this bullish engulfing candle, and then I was expecting this to be a bearish engulfing candle that closed towards a low. When you failed to do that, I was kind of hesitant on looking for anything to go short. And even on the 15-minute, because my bias was bearish, price came into that daily time fair value gap, rejected, especially at the New York or true open, and then this pulled back, took out liquidity here. It looked like it was going to be a market structure shift here. It didn't, and then it just continued to push higher, market structure shift in the opposite direction. So, and I'm not really looking to go long this week on this right now, so I would much rather wait for price to give me more bearish information, clues, so that I can go short rather than me going long. And at the moment, it's giving me less and less, more clues towards the fact that it might be bullish than it might be bearish. And if after price closes above this bullish fair value gap, and then or bearish inverse fair value gap or bearish fair value gap, essentially now it closes above that, and then we get a displacement lower with a market structure shift, will give a plus setup for me to go short either next week or most likely next week. If that doesn't happen, we might continue higher up into these highs, and then we'll see what market does at that time. But until then, I'm more focused on pound dollar. Pound dollar is the one for me right now. Right, we're putting this very strong bearish engulfing candle after taking out a daily time frame fair value gap, displacing lower, but it did come into this bullish fair value gap, which is another, it's trading between 2 points of interest, which is the bit annoying part. I'm expecting it to pull back, maybe not into that 50%, maybe into that 50%. We've got this breaker block there as well, and we've got this second fair value gap. At the moment, it's traded into that first fair value gap level, right, where I shorted yesterday after seeing the 1 hour time frame accumulation and manipulation, and exited that trade, because to me that, you know, that was not a good entry on a Monday. Much rather wait for price to push up. And I do believe if price comes into these highs, to me it's just accumulating right now. This is accumulation, and then if price comes into these highs, right, that would be a perfect area to go short. Similar to euro dollar, price just chilled in this range all day today. We had a channel that formed. Price came up into this range during London session, right? This bit here, we had a market structure shift. If you were trading the pullback or this retest, and then we saw this market structure shift again during London session, and if you had taken a pullback trade on that, then you would have gotten burnt. This candle was not a good candle, especially after seeing that we didn't really get more displacement lower. To me, that honestly was not a good candle to go short. And yeah, this bearish engulfing candle would have, anyone seeing that would think, okay, now we're going to continue, we grab liquidity of this high, we're in a bearish order flow, now let's go short. It wasn't a good sign to go short. At the moment, right, we're grabbing short-term liquidity, right? Swing highs being taken out, swing high being taken out, and now you would expect price to continue lower, as you should. But if it doesn't continue lower and then continues higher, I want it to pull back into somewhere inside this range, because there's no way I want to trade anywhere around here unless price really does start to move lower and then provide some kind of a entry down to these lows. Then we can look at it then. But right now, again, although I was bearish, I'm not really confident in shorting around this area. I want to see price pull back into this second daily time frame fair value gap at least. So let's see how that plays out tomorrow.